All right, let's say something that's going to make a lot of property managers uncomfortable. And if you don't really understand this, it could lead to you losing thousands of dollars. And that means not all property managers are created equal. Tonight, I'm going to break down 5 hidden areas that inside a standard contract that property managers or investors could be losing money out on by picking the wrong property managers. Stay tuned. Don't worry. I'm going to break it down very simple, very easy. Not going to use a lot of big terms here. Prep and prosper. Let's go. Tonight I'm going to break down, end of the day, if you can, as a property manager, explain where the landlord or the investor's money is going, we've got a very big issue. And if you as a landlord or property owner don't know where your money's going, you also need to check into your property manager. So one of the first things we're going to look at is the 5 areas where landlords get burned often. And the first thing I also see is maintenance markups. So what are maintenance markups? Let's say you have a toilet. Most of the time as property owners, we know it happens. You got to replace the toilet. Plumber comes out, he's going to charge you $200 for that toilet. You're thinking, oh, okay, you get a bill $200. That's exactly what it's going to be. But if you look in your contract, and once you look at, tonight we're looking at the Tennessee Property Manager Standard Agreement Contract, it'll have a maintenance markup on there. And let's just say for this example, we're using 20%. This landlord is charging, or this landlord is going to charge $200 for the plumbing repair to fix the toilet, but the maintenance markup is 20%, which is another $40. So that $200 repair is now $240. And you probably never even noticed it. So, another example. Let's say you get a pizza. You give somebody $10. They keep $2. Did the pizza cost you $10 or did it cost you $12? So, as a landlord, you want to make sure that property or that maintenance markup could be the difference. And if you know got a property manager that's having a lot of maintenance, and you know the type of property that you've purchased. If you purchase an older property and it does require a lot of maintenance, but if you know that there's a lot of maintenance going on and a lot of bills coming in, that's cutting into your profit. Look into your property manager to see if is he being or she being incentivized to do maintenance markups to where there could be a better option for us. So always look into that maintenance markup. That's the first thing you want to do into your property management agreement. Just looking at our main thing. So in the standard contract, you may have a few things, just some of it. It's going to be the terms. It's going to be who the agreement is going to be in between, the term or the length of the contract that person will be managing the property. It use words such as consideration along with miscellaneous service and charges. In the consideration, it's going to have what the percentage or the management percentage fee is going to be charged. And it's going to be a percent of the gross. Most of the time in Tennessee, it states it's going to be 10% of the gross profit. That's going to include all your fees, all your applicable fees, all your security deposit. It also mentions, too, that a leasing fee of $250 could be applied for each tenant that you're going to recertify. So you always want to make sure you're looking at your management fees. Second thing you want to look at is lease renewal fees. Lease renewal fees are going to be a really silent profit machine for your property manager. So if you have a renewal fee, if you're charging a $300 a year renewal fee, if that tenant renews 5 times, that's $1,500 that you're going to pay as a landlord. So it's great to keep the tenant that you already have, but you're being charged to keep them, and you may want to ask, why am I being charged to keep them? Are your rents being raised? Let that breathe. Why are you being charged to keep the tenant that you already have? Some managers would disagree. That's good, but it also it all depends on what you're looking at and where you're coming from. What exactly are you doing for that renewal fee? Are my tenants happy? Are you taking care of the property? Are you reporting things? Are you staying up on top of all our maintenance requests and all our maintenance for our house or our property to make sure that we save money in the future? So that's one of the things you want to look at is lease renewal fees as a property owner. Are you really taking care of that, or is that something you can look at? In the Tennessee property manager, it mentions a leasing fee of $250 will be paid each time the property is leased. That's going to include leasing. That's your recertifications each year. So you're going to know in Tennessee it's going to be $250 each time. If a licensed real estate agent refers a leasee, the leasing fee will be paid to the licensee's company. So, third thing you want to look at is vacancy fees. We do not like vacancy. Vacancy is when your apartment sits vacant, it's empty. So if it's empty, you're already losing money. You're not gaining anything. Every time that the bank is going to want the loan taken care of. The bank is still going to want their payment. So if the unit is empty, you're already losing money. But some agreements charge a vacancy management fee too. So if your house rents for $1,500, we talked about, you're already losing that $1,500 because it's sat empty. That goes back to what we talked about too, especially if it fails a Section 8 inspection, or you have a bad property manager that does not understand how to pass an inspection on the first time. That vacancy loss, you've lost $1,500. Add a leasing fee, 75%, now you're down another $1,125. Total, you can be out roughly $2,600, right around $2,625. So vacancy is very expensive. You want to pass your inspections on time. You want to make sure you look at those hidden fees and you know exactly what the managers are going to charge you. If the unit sits vacant another month because there's some more repairs, that's going to be additional fees. So you want to make sure that you cover your vacancy fees. A great property manager is going to treat vacancy like an emergency. They're going to get the apartment rented as quick as possible. If there's damages in it, they're going to get the vendors out as quick as possible. But which leads us into number 4, which is our vendor relationships. A really good property manager some property managers use the same vendors over and over again. This is going to ruffle feathers. We all get into our relationships. We want to build them with our good vendors. We go to conferences. We shake hands with them. We really do want to use our good vendors, and there's nothing wrong with that unless if you know that there's some kind of financial relationship that you don't know about. So if there's a vendor and they know each other outside of work with the property manager, or if the prices are high and the vendor, you're like, hey, I know we can shop around and get better quality on our flooring or our cabinet repairs, but this vendor's always high, you may want to ask yourself a question of, loyalty is great, but is my property manager really looking out for me? Or is this a friendship program? And we're not here to run friendship programs as property owners, or you as a landlord or investor. You're here to make money and have your investment continue to build wealth for you in the future. So it's an investment for you. Would you want 3 bids before every major repair? Just think about it. So that's why it's very important to get these bids as a landlord or property owner, investor. When you see these bids, you will get a range, and then not only will be a range of price, it will show you the scope of service, so you'll be able to compare to let it know that, oh, this is a great idea or it's not a great idea. So you want to look at that vendor relationship to make sure that everything's on the up and up. Make sure your vendors are using the top of the line equipment. You want to make sure that if there's any type of water damage, that they're using the right equipment. They have the equipment to get the job done. It's not just necessarily about the cheapest price, but can they get the job done? And if there's too high or even too cheap, question that. So make sure you know. I think our 5th thing you want to really look at is to make sure you really have a good property manager is your termination clause. That could be a trap for you, and it's really more important than you think. Some of these agreements may say you as the landlord investor must give them a 60 or a 90-day notice. Could be, or you could pay a termination fee. Termination fees. You're happy because your landlord is not reporting to you, or your property manager is not reporting to you things on time. They're not in good communication. However, you want to leave, but it just costs you an extra $1,000 on top of what you lost before in our last scenario where you failed the inspection, your vacancy loss, and then now you want to terminate. So that could be an extra $1,000 on top. And it's not just management. Now you're looking at $3,600. You're out. Could be a potential eviction. You're out a lot of money. So I'm not here to bash your property managers. Trust me, I know. I am one. But the right manager is going to make you money. The wrong one is going to slowly drain you for money. A good property manager is going to do a few things. They're going to be really transparent with you. They're going to be fast with communication, obsessed with your occupancy. They're going to make sure your units are occupied. They're going to protect your asset, and they're going to explain every single fee that you have. So you should never feel any type of way or confused about looking at your own financial statement. You should never feel that way. So don't feel confused. They should explain it to you. I always tell my owners, interview your property managers like you would do a surgeon. If you guys are into, if you're going to be, if you've had a health diagnosis and you want to make sure you get the best, that's how you should interview your property manager over top of your property. Because this person is holding your financial future in your hand. So if you learned something tonight, you're already ahead of 80% of the landlords. Most investors don't read their agreements until it costs them money. I repeat, most people do not read those landlord agreements until it costs them money. And by then it's too late. So if you're a landlord thinking about investments, subscribe here to Prep and Prosper, because this channel exists. The main reason is to protect landlords from expensive mistakes. Drop a comment that says agreement, and I might break down the entire Tennessee management contract on our next video line by line. But also just leave me a comment for the algorithm. But thank you guys. Hope you guys can help me continue to grow this video. Prep and Prosper.